We're going to have an amazing conversation that they'll all miss out on. So what we'll do first is, the way we're going to run this is 1 minute introduction from all the speakers, panelists. Then they'll build a thesis of about 3 to 5 minutes each. Then we'll have plenty of time for conversations, and then included in that would be Q&A. And then 1 minute each wrap at the end. And we'll stop sharp at 4:30. Good? All right, we'll go down the list first as we have it on the panel. The title is Deep Learning, a New Framework for Asian Business. May I ask Parag to please introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Parag Amin. I'm the chief mentor and founding director of an institute called iCreate based out of India. I'm a serial entrepreneur based out of the US, and iCreate is a not-for-profit, so it's my pro bono not-for-profit initiative. iCreate is basically an entrepreneurial ecosystem set up in Gujarat, a state in India, by the Prime Minister of India, Modi. And the goal is India is going to add or is adding 1 million youth to the workforce every month for next 37 years. So to employ that quantum of people is a mammoth task for government as well as private enterprise. And the only way of trying to employ a magnitude of that large quantum of people is by promotion of entrepreneurship. And that's what iCreate is all about. It helps individuals ideate, nurture, mentor, incubate, and fund. And iCreate stands for International Center for Promotion of Entrepreneurship in Technology. So it's not only confined to Indians and in India. It is basically for anybody in the world that wants to be an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur, that wants to solve India's problem, help create jobs in India, help promote entrepreneurship in India. iCreate is the platform that one should access and use. What do I know about deep learning and big data? Not much, but the moderator happens to be my friend, so he'll cut me a slack somewhere.
Thank you, Parag. So, Ms. Fong?
Hello, my name is Feng. I'm COO at Kokok. So Kokok basically is a search engine and browser, and based on that we created an advertising system in Vietnam. So we've been in Vietnam since 2010, and we have reached about 24 million users per month in Vietnam, and we are trying to compete with Google, hoping having a lot of Vietnamese specifics in the language, we can be very successful in Vietnam.
Thank you. Eric?
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Hadi. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia. So our business is to work with companies like you, overseas companies, and bring the technology to be implemented to Indonesia. That's it.
Thank you, Eric. Shin?
Hi, my name is Shin Ito from Tokyo, Japan. I run a management consulting firm. Clients tend to be either very large companies who want to do business initiatives in new field based on technology, or startup companies that in many fields that are tech-based. I am still learning about deep learning, but I look at technology from business perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Masayoshi?
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, Masayoshi, come from Japan, and I'm a co-founder and CEO of the CloudGate. And we do the blockchain research group in the global. And my background is researcher with distributed autonomous system in the university. And today is not a blockchain session, but the blockchain is not cryptocurrency, it's a protocol based on over the TCP/IP protocol on the internet. And this technology will change the data transaction form completely. So I'd like to talk more later. So thank you.
Thank you. True?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Trieu Nguyen. I'm co-founder and president of UNET Group. We are a group of companies of technologies, research, and marketing. So we are a company in Vietnam who are focusing on NLP, which means natural language processing and machine learning for 5 years. We also have one office in California for selling to the world about the social network solution and also data solution. In Vietnam, we have been serving for thousands of brands, actually both NMC and local brands, in terms of data-driven solutions and also marketing communications. And we are expanding expansion phase in Southeast Asia. So we're working now with partners in Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia for expansion of technology and also for marketing. Thank you. Yeah, Sasaki.
My name is Sasaki. I used to be management of institutional investment company. This is the second start of my life. And we are investing from founding stage to startups, mostly from universities and research institutes. And we also have a business in healthcare service and also managing the incubators all over Japan. And I was the first generation of AI research 45 years ago. And the hardware was not sufficient at that time, but the philosophical, the issue is still the same after 45 years. So we had 2-3 times of AI boom, but still this is another boom. Boom is okay that many people pour in the money and the research go ahead, but still we have a lot of philosophical issues lying towards the future. Yeah.
Thank you.
Michael?
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm the founder of the Veridizio. I grew up in Taiwan, stayed in US for 20 years. Actually, my PhD is using machine learning, decision science, and social psychology to predict the human behavior. But now wait until 20 years, we start to see the actual algorithm can be used to the enterprise. I also work as a computational neuroscience for a couple years before I joined SAP in Silicon Valley. I create an enterprise intelligence team for SAP CRM, where we create the first text mining engine, recommendation engine, collaborative filtering, and also the learning engine. This is back to 2000, early 2000. We actually create more than 25 patents. After that, I come back to the Asia. For the past 10 years, I work in Asia, set up the company, trying to create a next generation of the precision planning and prediction software, where we want to give the enterprise the capability to envision their possible futures before they make decisions. This is my first time in the whole Asia, so I'm very happy to see all the visionary all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you. So my name is Jay Parekh, and I'm a managing partner and now a senior advisor for Jungle Ventures. I'm based in Singapore. I'll make a few comments about this topic of deep learning and artificial intelligence, and then I'm going to ask my panel members to build their thesis before we get into a conversation and a Q&A. So one of the early thoughts that I had about this topic was that what is the education for future jobs? And I think the honest answer is nobody knows anymore. In a few decades, AI will push all these jobs out. Again, there is a lot of threat, and there is a lot of promise, there's a lot of hype, and there's everything in between. There is a thesis that many humans, they will become economically useless. So the usefulness of a human employee is going to fade. There are two jobs that will be left, apparently. One is the machine is going to tell the human what to do, or a human is going to tell the machine what to do. And those are the only two jobs. Everybody else will go into UBI, it's a uniform basic income. So a decade ago, all of us were thinking about these cars that are going to be self-driving, right? And now it's reality, but 10 years from now, for sure, artificial intelligence will give you autonomous cars. There are 1.3 million accidents which result in fatality in the world. And human drivers, they drive fast, they ignore traffic signs, they drink and drive, they fall asleep. Whereas connected cars, they talk to each other. And human cars, drivers will replace human car drivers will get replaced by artificial intelligence, and it'll reduce, it'll just make it very safe. So this is one thesis. The other is the diagnosis by doctors, right? So the doctors, after many times you get an appointment with a doctor, and then they have some medical history, they do 1 or 2 tests, and from a few data points, he or she will do a best guess diagnosis and come up with what's wrong with you. Fast forward, today artificial intelligence, even like IBM Watson, has all data points. It is monitoring from biometric sensors, and it has no limitation on data, right? The entire medical history is available. All tests, all disease, everything is available, and AI will very likely diagnose diseases much better than doctors. So many technical and legal problems, machines have to solve it only once, right? Each doctor, each engineer, each worker has to be trained, right? And each time the outcome is not uniform. Whereas AI, on a repeatable and scalable basis, will have uniform outcome, right? Single. So this is all the good. So the future question, of course, the other one is the ethics, right? So there is economics and ethics, and so we'd like to see some debate on that. But I think one of the other dangers is that the new technology is going to control our mind. So what is the ethics behind that, right? It's going to actually, so many different things already you're seeing on social media that's actually, acting on your mind and trying to control your mind. So what is already here? Chatbots are here, Siri, Alexa, self-driving cars. You can get your DNA analyzed. You get, fly drones. You can have smart speakers. 3 years from now, I see robotics, artificial intelligence, machine language, mass 3D printing, biotechnology, smart chatbots, deep learning, augmented reality. I mean, it's coming, right, in 3 years' time. McKinsey has a survey done that says 45% of all current tasks will be automated. World Economic Forum says 33% of all the current jobs will not exist. So there is self-cashier. When you check in, there's a self-check-in now at the airports. So the number is that in 2012, there were 150,000 Wall Street traders. Today, there are only 100,000. So 1/3 of the traders are gone from Wall Street. There are 10 million developers who are developing new products and services. Yes? And there are 10,000 startups who are coding and disrupting the technology as we know today. So if it all seems daunting, let's see if our panel members can give you a little bit more color to any of this. Let's start with Parag. So we have 3 topics here that is in the questions, and there are 2 or 3 members who will do the first one, which is deep learning is reducing human intervention across many industrial, commercial, scientific, and service sectors. So Parag, you take the lead.
So nomenclature aside, learning, deep or shallow, has been around for a long time. Society has not shaken itself up this much over rhetoric, because when the personal computer was invented, you could call it deep learning of that time, because it was doing things that were never being done by machines. When the cell phones came about, there was disruption. There was learning that had never been done by a phone. A lot of things were happening. So now we're getting into workspace learning, and that's where insecurities are beginning to flow. People are beginning to wonder. So let's look at the workspace learning as an example. You go 15 years ago when you traveled internationally, many of you probably did, you walked into an immigration officer's desk, it was all paper-based. Stamps, this, that. It still is paper-based, but there's automation around it. So technology, whether you know it or not, there's deep learning there. Those immigration systems know the size of your underwear, like it or not. They know where you're coming from, they know where you've been, they know what you've done. If there are red flags in banking, they know about it. Basically, those systems know a lot about what you're doing. The difference is they are not factored into decision making. The decision is still made by that individual sitting at the computer. That's the transition that's going to happen. So take it or leave it. That's the way the world is headed. Live with it, or you'll have to live without it. All in all, as long as the human race is willing to embrace positive change, then any technology that comes to your doorstep will only be a progressive step forward. But if you don't want to embrace change, then the littlest of things that happen, you'll still be using your flip phone, and there's a lot of people that do use the flip phone today. That's fine, that's okay, but the technology will pass you by. So in establishing the thesis or having an opinion, will it replace jobs? Absolutely. No doubt, no question about it. The reason it will replace jobs is because the machine is going to be able to deliver a better quality of product or service than the human sitting behind it. Majority of the tasks, and I'm speaking broad numbers, 35, 40, 50% of the tasks where you interact with a human is a 100 IQ job. 140, 150 IQ, but the job you're doing, you go to a bank teller, you go to a ticket buyer at a ticket window, or whatever it is, a high school kid can do that. Well, very easily a machine is going to be able to do that flawlessly, with no emotions involved, no drunk mornings, no overslept coming to work all disgruntled. No, the machine will do a better job. That individual is going to have to figure out where do they fit into the ecosystem and how do they find a new task for themselves. Long and short, I'll give you a quick example before going into a deep thesis, since I still have a few minutes. You guys can Google, there's a company called IPsoft. They have a product called Amelia. They started off with a digital assistant. What you know as your Siri or Eliza. These are consumer level products. Well, Amelia, on the other hand, is an industry or a commercial product. 70% of all banks in Manhattan, in some way, shape, or form, are using Amelia. They ran 2 pilots. They ran one pilot in India where there was government subsidies that were supposed to reach to poor people. The number of steps involved in getting that subsidy to that individual were 17 steps. And there were 8 or 9 human beings that they had to interact with before they saw their money. They replaced it with this product, and the product interacts with them over the phone vernacular. By the way, Amelia is fluent in 10 languages, and it can converse in 100 languages. So if you live in an area where the predominant language is not the language that you speak, a product like Amelia can cater to all your needs. Where your money is, when will you get it? The consumer satisfaction level of this product is mind-blowing. That's one example. The second one is they ran another pilot in the state of New Jersey. They went to a hospital system where they have 250 radiologists studying just X-rays and MRIs. They took 3 years of that data, images, and then they took 3 years of the reports and fed it to the system. For those of you who don't know how basically deep learning works, it's a hierarchical model, and one set of decisions feeds in to the next set of propositions, which then generate decisions that feed into the next set of propositions, and you go up the pyramid and you come with a cardinal solution. After studying 3 years of use cases, this system 97% of the time now writes diagnostic reports that are accurate. Now that 3% is a time quantum. It's not an accuracy quantum. It's the cases that the system has not seen yet. When it starts seeing those cases, it'll be 100% flawless. So what happened is the hospital system killed the pilot because they thought that the 250 radiologists are going to go out of business. Well, that's not the case, because it still cannot, from a liability and an insurance perspective, that computer cannot sign off. You're still going to need the stupid radiologist to sign off and charge his money, right? So there's no new knowledge required there. But the point I'm trying to make here is technological advancements that reach the human brain are here to stay, and there's no replacing them. It's just trying to come to grips with that it is going to take things over, it's going to make life better for us. How do we move forward with it is the question.
Thank you. So that was just a trailer. Now Shin-san is going to actually lay the platform for this panel now.
I told you he was my friend.
I think there are many examples, even today, that are the artificial intelligence and deep learning are applied. And there are many stories that are coming forward into the near future. And I think we want to sort of differentiate the terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, because they tend to be used interchangeably, which, I mean, in concept they are not. So I wanted to sort of step back and talk about the definition and what the deep learning does, what the applications of those, and what the implications may be. So first of all, the largest concept in this field is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence was mentioned in 1956 in the summer workshop at Dartmouth College, where mathematicians and computer scientists get together, and there were many terms, and then they unified it into artificial intelligence. They talked about computational theory, natural language processing, neural networks, and abstraction, and even creativity at that time. And then there's a subcategory of AI called machine learning. Machine learning, as it stands, is a computer that learns by itself. There are many computers that don't learn by itself, right? If you have experience in programming, you need to tell the computer what to do, and the computer just obeys what you are told, what the computer was told. Now, machine learning is something that you give data to machines, and machine by itself learns what the patterns are. Okay, and deep learning is another subcategory of machine learning, and it is an implementation of neural network, and neural networks is a sort of an application of human brain. It's a modeling of human brain based on neurons. So deep learning is sort of the very inner core, and then machine learning and AI. Okay. So I wanted to talk about what deep learning does. It's really a pattern recognition. There are two types of pattern recognition. One type is unsupervised. You just throw a whole bunch of data and see what common patterns exist. Like the 2012 Google Cat event, they throw out 10 million images from YouTube with cats. Without telling it's a cat, the computer came up with a cat image because those are the ones that repeatedly come up. So the computer found it is a cat. There's another category which is more useful, that is a supervised learning with labeled data. So you tell the computer, here is the set of data, and here is what it is. And with this combination, here's an input, here's an output. Find the patterns. You don't know what is in between, right? If you look at the basic mathematics, a function, y equals x plus 1, you tell the computer, it used to be that you tell the computer y equals x plus 1. But without telling the computer, you give the answer and the input, and the computer by itself finds out it is a function of x plus 1, right? So those are the supervised learning. It recognizes objects when a child sees a picture. She can tell there's an elephant. An elephant is recognized because of the boundary of this object with certain shapes and color and texture as it appears. Computer can do that. Voice recognition is another example, and recognition of any state of input and output. And using that, you can do certain predictions because you know the transfer function if here is a new input, predict what the output is going to be, right? That's why you can do the prediction. And there are many applications based on that. So, as we use emails, email spam filters are examples of deep learning. Cow farming, deep learning is used because, it's very important to know when it is in estrus. The farmers want to know when the cows are ready for pregnancy by watching the 3D motion. High-speed automatic trading is another example. Malignant tumor detections, factory process optimization, autonomous vehicle, of course, and so forth. There are many, countless things that are applied. And what are the implications of these? There are many, there will be many embedded solutions to be implemented even today and in coming years. In home appliances, automobiles, factories, offices, traffic systems, and robots, and so forth. There are many benefits and there are many side effects. As Jay talked about, there will be many losses of jobs and that the AI is going to replace. So those are the things that I wanted to share.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful. Eric?
So from my side, I would agree with Parek here and also with Ito-san. I think they have most of it, so I'm running out of topic now. So just to sum up, from my opinion, it's true that technology is here to stay. The issue is that we have more and more complex issues happening in the world that needs to be addressed. And I believe that deep learning, as one of the subset of AI and machine learning, is here to increase the human capability in doing faster decision making. We know for a fact that currently in the world we have numerous complex tasks that humans are incapable of completing in a very short period of time. And I believe this technology is here to help humans to solve all of these issues. So without having to go and to elaborate more, since Ito-san has elaborated and also Parag has mentioned before.
Thank you. And then we'll go to the second part of it. How can we judge the results of the system? So let's get Triu to start it.
Well, actually, after going into the judgment of how accurate and how trustworthy it is, right? I would like to share about the application of machine learning or deep learning in terms of business, doing marketing and acquisition of customer. So marketing and advertising is the industry that apply the fastest way of everything about intelligence, because they need to have creativity, but they still need to maintain the effectiveness. And advertising and marketing is a very challenging industry. So as you see, the machine learning, one of the examples that, for example, my company and other company in marketing technology doing is we apply deep learning to learn about all the behavior, all the discussions of the consumer, all the engagement they did on the brand or on the channels, so that we can segment on the customer in different stages in the customer journey. And it's very important because once you understand the customer in different stages of the journey, from awareness into consideration, or they have intention to purchase the products, or they love the brands, it's very important for marketing communication to send the right message and engage with them properly in each channels. So that is one of the very key, important, but not yet at the perfect level now. The industry is still learning, but the enablement of the platform like Google and Facebook is also very encouraging. Besides the understanding of the segmentation of customer, the other applications you may think is almost impossible is about creativity. So advertising, how to create the good brand identity or the good logo or the good advertisement, it sounds like it's based on the creativity of a person, like, executive director of all the companies or agencies. They are the one who decide what the advertising should be, right? They have the talents to do that. But actually right now, there is the model of deep learning and machine learning that allow the companies, the agency, to have recommendations. So recommendation from the machine is very important in terms of evolution. But this also, for the long future, can be a big risk for the human beings, because when a machine recommends you something, which means they believe and they have a lot of big data behind to support that. And the more people trust and believe in, in the recommendation from engine, the more we rely on the engine, right, on the machine. So there is a model that deep learning now can recommend for the creative director what kind of portrait, what kind of attributes a brand can win the consumer, which means what kind of colors, what kind of shape of the advertising, or what kind of content can help gain more attention or gain more interactions. So even some brands, when they do brainstorming about what should be the brand, what should be the shape or the attribute or the persona or the personality of the brand should be, then they base on a lot of recommendation from the engine. The engine take a lot of successful brands or successful marketing campaigns. So they put into one single persona. We say that usually the brand who wins the consumer have this kind of attributions, right? This kind of atmosphere, this kind of appearance, this kind of colors. That is one example for you to understand that machine learning and especially deep learning can do with unlimited benefits for the business, but also it needs people, it needs human beings to evolve, to grow with them as well. We need a lot of education to become talented, but the machine learn much faster than us. And right now, I think even in 10 years, the people are still at the stage that we rely on the insight, or we rely on the recommendation from the engine to make decisions. But beyond that, I do believe that the engine will also recommend, and then because of the laziness of people, of human beings, we can say, recommend me what is the solution, and then we say, just do it. Or like we say, so let's clean it, for example. Then the machine will conduct the best solution they recommend. But which also means we put our hands into the machine decisions, actually. So I think far beyond to the future, I think a lot of things will be based on the decision from the machines. And we will just agree or not agree for that. So this is my vision about that.
So I'll come back and ask you about this, but I've read that computers are creating music and they're writing books. So we'll come back and ask you that question. Ms. Hong?
So actually, we, as a search engine and browser, on daily basis, we process a lot of data, so millions of queries of our users and billions of pages where we show the content of internet in our browser. And actually we are using machine learning and more machine learning rather than deep learning in our algorithm to detect, to improve our search quality. I think in the beginning of 2010, we had 150 quality raters who just sit and rated the results of the search result page. Does it look good or not? And later, we improved the quality of our machine learning algorithm. Now we have around 70, but still a lot of them. And so thanks to this algorithm, we are trying to detect trends, values, some very specific metrics which measures the quality of the site. And we using it in ranking those websites in our search result page. And also, so there are many ways where we use machine learning, but most of the thing that I wanted to note is we are using it to improve the search quality and ad ranking. So we understand the user intention, we know what they want, we know where they go, and based on this we would suggest the best relevant advertisement related on where they go. But I don't think that in search engine on someday machine learning or deep learning can replace user. It just, so human will, so all the algorithm that we create will just help to create better experience rather than just replace all users. Because you provide to users the better quality and experience where they want to search. You don't want, you just replace all users and provide what they want. You just want to provide them the experience where they, and deliver to them the results that they are expecting or want to see it. So it's one side where we provide the results for users, and from other side we are using a lot of products which is having inside a kind of deep learning, machine learnings, like, for example, we are using Salesforce for our sales team. And so based on the data that our salespeople put there, they will rate these clients and tell us back, is it possible to win this client or not? But so we are serving around 4,000 clients per month, and it's impossible to replace salespeople if you even have a real good tool to sell, because Vietnamese people, they like to chat. They like to talk to people. I mean, they want to chat with you, to have your advice, to talk to you, and just, it's about emotions. They don't like just to work with machines. You provide them interface, but they still want to call you and say, no, you do this please for me, just push this button, but you do it. And I think that we cannot replace all this by machine. We're just trying to improve the better experience for them.
Thank you. I think we understand the quality of the search, but we'll come back and ask you about ethics of marketing, because while you're giving me the good results, you're also serving me some ad, and I'm not so sure that yes, of course, yeah. We should debate that. Masayoshi-san?
Yep. So currently, the many AI scientists are interested in the coordination with the AI and the blockchain technology. So let me introduce the reason first, and then I introduce my vision to how to judge the results from these systems. So first, yeah, blockchain is also an important paradigm shift for the deep learning because blockchain is, as I said, so new protocol. And when we talk and use a blockchain in your company, so we have to think about the whole system. So how to correct the raw data, how to proceed the data putting a label, and how to judge the result, how to get feedback. So for example, you give the example of the diagnosis. So, but it's hard to adapt to this technology because a healthcare record is very confidential. So we cannot share the different entity. But if we use the blockchain technology, the user put their data and encrypt the data to the blockchain, and we can share the data with the doctor and the other entity very securely. And based on this blockchain protocol, we can easily correct the data, I mean the big data. So this is a very big paradigm shift. So many startups and scientists suffer from correcting data using their algorithm. So this is a reason to slow adoption of the AI technology, I think. And the second reason is it's like an ethical issue. So maybe a GAFA, Google and Facebook, Amazon, correcting our data. And if they are we facing with a singularity, it's very dangerous, right? So in my opinion, my vision is democratize and decentralized AI machine. I mean the AI agent. So let me do an example. So there is an AI hedge fund using a blockchain technology. Yeah, a scientist put the AI algorithm to the platform, and they compete with AI. And the AI, if we win this competition, the entity select this AI machine and get the profit and distribute the profit to the scientist. So in the future, so we cannot recognize the human and the machine in the internet. Now we cannot. So maybe we have to think AI is one of the agents in our society. We are not attitude to judge the result. We can select the best AI for us. So this is my vision. Thank you.
Okay, we'll come back and ask you about saving lives versus privacy, right? We'll come back and discuss that in the question and answer, saying if you have a choice between saving a life and privacy, then what is the ethics of that? So we'll come back and discuss that. Yeah. All right, Yoshiki-san.
Okay, I think AI is after all a machine. Therefore, what you can expect from AI is a machine assistance. So if you can improve your situation by machine assistance, you still have the room for you to contribute to the human society by that. But if we talk about 5-10 years horizon, this is still with that level. Not in the future that will change, but for 5-10 years, machine is a machine. So it works very well when the issue is well defined in the sense that assumptions and the preconditions are well defined. Then you can get a good results. Otherwise, you cannot rely on the results. So the difference of human is that you can create the preconditions and assumptions by yourself. So broadly speaking, it's a common sense. So if you have a very good common sense, you will not be replaced by the machine. So that, I think, still remains as a difference of a human and a machine. But ultimately, what human can do as a biomachine, the electronic machine of computer can do the same thing in the longer term. So in the longer term, we will be discussing about the computer rights instead of human rights or robot rights, that type of thing. So already if we talk about the machine assistance in our real life, in a few of our investees, we are seeing these kind of examples. In one investee, they are growing tomato without human, and they are growing a very sweet tomato, better than the veteran farmers. And then in other area, we are developing a cultivating machine for mushrooms without human intervention. So that utilizes the image processing and the material handling by robots. So with today's technology, we can do this. So if we think about the business in the future, then you need to create a human capital, or so to speak, a human resource who can cope with these kind of situations. This is what I think is the strategy towards the future.
Thank you. And then there's a third part which says, is deep learning frameworks giving Asian firms a starting advantage? So, Michael?
Okay. This is an interesting question. But I would like to mention that deep learning framework, we shouldn't treat it as pure technical tools. We need to think this as one part embedded into the service process and the business model. Because you think this way, the deep learning framework can be used in the real world. We have been doing this kind of engagement in the past for 5 years, and then we have encountered very huge challenges. So now what I'm going to talk about is if we want to talk about the starting advantage for the Asian firm, then we need to look at a few directions. So I raised a few directions, 5 directions. The first one is data availability. So we all know that in Asia, we have a huge amount of data in past decades because the computer and data can be collected, extracted from various points. But for example, for earlier this year, we talked about in the Watsons, they have 30 million of the members cover 20 years of the older selling activity. And in the Suning in China, they have over 200 million registered users with activity from both the store as well as the e-commerce side. So this is a huge amount of data. But the question is, when you go into the do analysis, there is a condition for it. So earlier this year, we have done analysis for customer profiling. Customer profiling is very important for digital marketing. And we can use artificial intelligence, machine learning, text mining, data mining approach to do the customer profiling. But by doing so, you will find out in a lot of companies, it's very easy in China. You can have 20 or 30 different sales channels. But each channel has different information. If you don't have the information, can identify individual person, all this data cannot be used for the learning. So that means the condition for the data availability is that you need to have a consistent data. The data integrity need to be sufficient. And the second one is resource availability. Asian is actually very good for the resource for future AI talent. Even though right now US generate most of the talented people, generate most of the AI people, but the Asia has most of the several fold of the engineers available. So Asia has a very good foundation. Now the question is, there's no ecosystem for it. If you look at every country in Asia, we all lack of the ecosystem will allow you to train people, provide the enterprise provide the business usage, and allow the people to apply to solve the real problem. Then come back the enterprise, feed the support into the training. For example, in Taiwan, we have this Artificial Intelligence Institute just established 2 years ago. And from my interaction with them, they pretty much cover a whole bunch of the materials, including all the technical plus a lot of application. But the problem is most people going there are business management. They want to solve the business problem. They don't know where to start. So this is the key things we have to remember. So how can we create an ecosystem is critical for Asia. The third one is the culture, the culture-based marketing. The marketing is growing very fast in Asia. And that's bring a good things because the market create a demand. But another thing is actually Asia has all kind of variety of a culture. And this is very different compared to the Western world. So I'll give very simple example. For example, if you go to China, everybody using a phone, they don't use cash anymore. They scan QR code everywhere. But you don't see that in US. So if you bring the model from the Western, from the US into China, you will face the big challenge. But that's the advantage for the Asian firm because you know the culture. So if you can utilize the culture to create something unique, then you have gained the advantage, starting advantage. The fourth one is the uncertainty and undetermined ROI. So if you're talking to the company, they all are doing all kind of AI things, blockchain, artificial intelligence, everything you can mention for the big term, they all talking about a pilot study. But they are doing the pilot study, and this can also be referred to McKinsey some report by 2017. They have a look at some of the information. Yes, everyone's doing the pilot project because they don't want to be fall behind. They want to be early adapter, but they are really not adapting into the business application. And that's the things we have to face because we need to overcome this. For the Asian firm, no matter you provide a service product or you actually in a big enterprise, you need to be able to do that. For example, so how can this become an advantage? The good thing is that they want to do the experiment. So that means it's much easier for you to start with a pilot. They are willing to try with a small amount of investment. But on the other side, and let me try to give an example. For example, we are working on a predictive service for the expensive asset. For example, the medical equipment, mining equipment, or semiconductor equipment. Those are highly demanded in the Western world. But a lot of components are manufactured in Asia. So what you can do is, if you can combine the deep learning with those manufacturers, you will be able to deliver the service to the Western world because the labor cost there is very high. And why do they want to do that? Because they are also going through a transformation on the Western side. For in Germany, in US, they are also transformed. They're from manufacturing, selling the equipment to selling the service. They want to have hospital 100% operational. They want a semiconductor machine never go down. So how do you do that? So that in order to do that, you need to provide service. That gives an Asian firm a good advantage because you own the component manufacturing side, you can also combine with the software service. And the last one would be the transformation. Most of the Asian firm, because it's growing so fast, it's going through the business transformation. We can see the digital transformation almost across all kinds of industry. And the good thing for the Asian firm is that you don't need to go through what has been gone through 20 years in the Western world. What you can do is you can skip all those historical burden. So how do you skip historical burden? You can start from paper. You don't need to start from paper, process, and create a digital transformation, and then a process re-engineering, and then go to the AI. You don't need to do that. You can jump direct, go to the AI-driven. But in order to do that, it's actually a huge jump. You still need a process, you still need a product, you need a service, you need people to train. The mentality is not ready. So let me give some example. For example, the insurance company, some major insurance company also want to go into that vision. They invest huge amount of money to do the IT infrastructure. But when they finish the IT infrastructure, they still cannot push this mentality. Why? Because a huge organization, there's a culture in there. And you need to do the organization change, you need to do the change management before you can do this kind of implementation. Otherwise, it's difficult to do it. But another bank or finance company, what they do is they understand the change management takes a long time because it's a conservative industry. And you cannot just say, okay, now everybody go out of the job and we do in a machine. No, it doesn't work this way. So what they do is they actually spin off a business unit. That business unit do whatever they want. When they create a sufficiency, because they have know-how, so when they create a service, they can sell back to the headquarters to sustain its operation. So this kind of things is coming. So if we can focus on this five direction, I think that the Asian firm can actually gain a lot of a starting advantage.
Thank you, Michael. Any burning thoughts as a result of this conversation from my panel members first? I want to have two non-panel comments, but before I do that, I want to see if any of you want to come in. And first my panel members, if you don't mind. Yeah, okay. Anything? All right.
Thank you very much. Good day. Thank you. It's very, very interesting. I'm Professor Lou Marinoff from the City College of New York. I have two questions, one for the panelists and one for Parag. But I heard you use the word ethics at least 2 or 3 times. So this sort of begs the question for the panelists, all of whom, but I think it's incredible that you're telling me that they passed a Turing test for hedge fund management now. This is unbelievable. It's not unbelievable that the computers are the world champion chess players and Go players. When will we have a world champion poker player as a computer? When will we have a computer that can compose a Beethoven string quartet as well as Beethoven did, so it will be performed in concert halls across the world? And when will we have a computer that writes a New York Times best-selling book, fiction or non-fiction, I don't care. So that's a challenge I would like the panelists to respond to. And when then, if they believe this is in the foreseeable future, when will you have a computer who can give philosophy lectures in a university? Let me know, I will retire happily when you come up with that machine, okay? And for Parag, it sounds like you are on the verge of a paradox. You, on the one hand, need to create 1 million jobs a month in India, but if you do this in the AI sector, you're going to be destroying 1 million jobs a month in India. So how are you ever going to balance the books?
Okay, Parag, you go first.
Only a philosopher can think along those lines, not a technocrat. But no, so for everybody that's fearing that their job's going to go away, including the people of India, stay put. Jobs are not going away tomorrow. 2 cardinal rules to AI, machine learning, big data, and deep learning is you need tremendous amount of data. Because without data, you can't really validate intelligence, machine intelligence, and modeling. And the second thing you need is a tremendous set of functions, rules, whatever you want to call them. The machines are not smart enough yet to better themselves. They won't just go and write their own rules thinking these are better for humanity. Not yet. Eventually you might get there. So what's going to end up happening is Asia in particular is a huge breeding ground for that data. Any other part of the world, purely from the perspective of numbers, just won't be able to feed in that quantum of data to these models. So that's an opportunity for Asia. If you want to create 1 million jobs, a classic example is when Uber came, taxi drivers didn't lose jobs. They just didn't go out of work and their taxis just didn't stop working. They just had to be better, more competitive, more alert, and they just had to improve their game, right? And maybe India will create data analytics jobs, because if the data being collected by automated models is what is being fed into these intelligence systems, then what's the validity of that data? Who's monitoring that? Because then you get into, let's take Internet of Things and all these sensors that's going to collect millions of data points feeding into these knowledge-centric systems. What about security for these IoT devices? What if I hack in and start manipulating data? I'm going to throw off people's intelligence. I'm going to take a really smart professor and make him a dumb entrepreneur. Right? So there's never a net loss or a net gain. It's give and take. It's like energy. It's neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms. So jobs will have to be like that. People will have to move. You stay put, you're screwed. There's no 2 ifs, buts, and ands about it. So the long and short of it is India or no India, there will be enough opportunities for people to get employed. If not in one way, shape, or form, in another. Are they willing to, is the question.
Professor, I think he's just, the elections are coming. I think he might be standing for politics, because I don't think he believes completely. I don't think it's a net loss, net gain. Maybe give some give take, that I can possibly agree with. So Fong, he talked something about ethics, but I also asked you a question about, you're doing quality searches, and then there is this advertisement that you're pumping, whether I like it or not. So can you just sort of merge those two?
So actually, if I'm doing advertisement and I say it's a very native way how to earn money, of course, yes. But if you do a really good targeting, you know exactly the people. So telling about explicitly about search result ad. So you type what you need, and it appears exactly what you need. So actually, for users, you don't care, is it ad or no? Because if it's really good, you find what you need. So search engine is the page where you come, and if you go out of that page as soon as possible, the search engine works perfectly. You don't need to click on millions of links. You just click one and you find something you need. For example, if you want to buy, I don't know, a t-shirt, you just find buy t-shirt and it shows you exactly the type of t-shirts that you need. You don't need to go to many stores. So it helps if the ad works great. It's in search engine, and when we have a lot of data, we know, not we, but the company who are doing advertisement on programmatic, they know what did you search before. They know that, for example, you purchased a computer 2 days ago, they will not show you buy more computers. They will show you buy the mouse or buy the case. Or if you were trying to buy, you were buying a car, so probably the next step they will try to show you the ad with the car loan or the insurance. And it really helps you to save your time to find those things. But just in case if the ad works well, if it doesn't work well, it's just very spammy. I totally agree with you.
So this is a good thing for men, because if you're looking for a T-shirt, I'll find it. What about women? You just buy a dress like that. I'm just kidding.
I have to tell you the truth that I noticed during last month, I started buying a lot of things on Facebook. I started buying a lot of dress on Facebook. I see nice pictures, I just comment and they deliver it to me. It's really, really saved my time to go to any store. I don't spend my time staying in the traffic jam, to go to the store to pay, to be in the queue. So it really helps. And I started buying a lot of food through Facebook and a lot of flowers, just because I like pictures and then I buy. And Facebook nowadays became a really, really powerful tool because they know everything about you. They know where you go because you always check in, and they probably know your location, and they know people where you go with. They know the interest of that people. As I know, there is a company in Russia, they show the ads of flowers not to people who has birthday, but they show it to husband of those people or boyfriend of those people. So and they know exactly the flowers your wife like. So they just show it to you. I mean, it really saves your time. And for women, it's also, I mean, the same.
No, it's good for men. Yeah.
For everybody.
To send the right flowers to the wife is a good thing.
Yeah.
Masayoshi-san, so one of the things that also, just continuing from what Professor is asking about, you asked about saying confidentiality of medical data, but on one side, I want to save a life, and there is a time limit, and that's one issue, versus privacy and confidentiality. So maybe you can give us some thoughts.
We can take a pause. And first of all, search engine. So from start, advertisement costs on the Google is decreasing. So now nobody intended to pay the attention to the advertisement right now if we optimize it. So, and the GDPR is coming in the Euro. So it means get back the right of the control of the personal data to the end user, right? So now we have a new technology, AI and blockchain, and the regulation is coming. So now we have a good timing to discuss about this. And blockchain, if we use a blockchain, we can take a pause. So we can share the data and sell and buy the data securely to the peer-to-peer, not intermediate, not the platform. So if humankind choose this, platform and protocol, maybe we can move forward and making a new decentralized application based on the new internet protocol. So that's why everybody interested in and expecting this field. Not only the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency, this is technology. Computer science,
Okay, thank you. I just want to put someone on the spot here, and then we'll open it up for questions. We have a person here who does designs, and so he believes in design thinking, and he runs a company which designed all the Apple computer stores that you know all over the world. So may I request Tim Kobe to give us some perspective on deep learning and design thinking.
Thanks, Jay. In listening to this, it's pretty interesting to hear the question about who's creating the next piece of work from Beethoven. It raises to me the question that, to me, most machine learning is referential. It's coming from data that we already know. It's probably inferring information that we already know. But I guess my question is, coming from a creative background, I feel very comfortable in my job, my career work, from the standpoint that I still don't see technology being able to do, you can see machine intelligence working, but human intelligence still having extraordinary advantages. And it's primarily in the creative area from the standpoint of breaking rules. Computers are very difficult about breaking rules, about intuition, about making connections. And so to me, it raises the question of how are we thinking about this technology relative to human intelligence, and finding out a way for there to be more of a complement between what technology does and what it does for people. And I guess the other point is really the jobs versus no jobs distinction. I think it's a bit of a distraction. I would be more worried about who controls the information and how it's used for the benefit of society versus the alternative. So those are the two aspects of that I would think about.
Thank you. Ito-san, I just want to ask you about, just continuing from there, you mentioned so many different layers, right? And you defined AI and ML and DL. How is it progressing technically and business models? How is the progress to date?
I think, there are many AI implementations long time ago. We studied regression analysis in college, and that is a part of AI. And if you look at electronic calculator, I mean, it's dumb, but it may be a man-made intelligence, and you can call it an AI. So there have been many implementations of sort of man-made intelligence. And then machine learning came along when there are a certain amount of data, right? Because machine learning learns from data. And all of a sudden, deep learning came along because of the very high computational power became available in the past few years at very low cost. And also because of the depository on the internet, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of data became available, big data. That's why the emergence of deep learning. So that is sort of, I think, the progression of AI into machine learning and a special branch of machine learning, deep learning. And it's my perspective about the creativity, because deep learning is a learning from the past. It's rather difficult to create something totally new. Now the question is, do humans create something that is totally new, or is it a combination of existing things that appear very interesting? I think that is a fundamental question that I have asked all through my time, because when I was an investor of intellectual property, in particular inventions. Invention is invention is an intellectual property, and that is a new technology idea that did not exist. Is that something that really came up from nowhere that nobody thought about, or is it a combination of existing things? I don't have good answers, but I think that is sort of related to this artistic design creativity.
Thank you so much. Professor Martin, may I ask you to make any comments? Yeah, anything. I mean, if you want to respond to that or anything. You're good? Okay, yeah. Yes, sir, go ahead. Rahul.
Vaibhav, yeah.
Sorry.
So just as a background, I run a healthcare analytics business which uses machine learning to create algorithmic predictive models to improvise inpatient healthcare delivery. I want to make a comment, no question here, but just an inspiration actually. Traveling across the different panels in Horasis 2018, there's been significant excitement around unicorns. I think everyone wants to make a unicorn or participate in a unicorn. And being part of AI, ML-based startup, the way we think of a unicorn is in the literal sense that a head and the body of a man on top of a horse. Let the horse do the running, which is the computer. So all of this talk about, the machine can't do everything and the human needs to do something and the job is getting lost. I think let's all look at it as these are the unicorns we want to create, wherein a human sits on top of the machine, let the machine do the hard running, and the human uses human intelligence to control the hard running of the horse. So that's just a comment to kind of, bring to light some perspective on, what everyone keeps getting agitated about, loss of job, this, that, and the other.
You should put a trademark on that, Vaibhav. You should put a trademark on that, the definition of unicorn. Yeah, Parag.
I think the long and short of it is the humans are just going to up their game. As machines start getting better and better, the complacent beings are going to see that their job is at stake and they're going to get better. And the overworked souls are going to find a lot of solace in the machine doing 3/4 of their job, and they can go and do other stuff. So, and this applies across the spectrum. I don't think we are truly at a juncture where the whole market workplace is going to get disrupted. It's just efficiency is going to flow in over a period of time, and this is all long gestation. The knowledge is not something that happens overnight. But long and short of it is, like you rightfully said, is the human head that's going to sit on top of automation. Whether it be from validation, from acceptance. A police is not going to give a ticket to a car. A bank is not going to give a loan to a robot. I mean, at the end of the day, there still will need to be that human that's going to take the responsibility for the actions of the machine.
Any other questions from the audience? Yeah, go ahead.
I just introduced the GAN, G-A-N. So I answered the first question. And the GAN is a stand for Generative Adversarial Network. It means IDEA is a new technology in the different neural network challenges each other to run to create and improve new content in the recursive process. So AI can draw the picture right now. Yeah, it's really. It's happened. And then, so we have to think AI agent is one of the agents in our society. They can create new things in technically. So please search GAN. Yeah.
Ito-san, you okay with that? You can create, basically. He's not saying that you're taking data from past and just recreating it.
Yeah, there have been picture drawings and novel writing and those sort of creative things that are out there. But how is it made, right? How is it made is the question.
Tim,
Yes.
you're smiling, so maybe you have the last comment on that topic. Do you have any comments?
On the creative process?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of technical capability, but I guess it's important to not mistake technical capability for the human outcome. And I think the fact that you can technically make something today doesn't necessarily make it poetry or art or of human benefit. So, I think it's important that we're framing the conversation around the right points. But again, we're at an early stage. Someone mentioned earlier that the HP calculator was the first AI. I think we're still at an infancy in this.
Okay, any other questions before we wrap? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Hi, William Ting, regional private equity firm. One of the areas we've been looking at is AI. I have one question for the panelists. The US is about to restrict the export of AI technologies, including machine learning, deep learning, et cetera. They're calling for public comments on this issue. What would be the effect on the AI market in Asia if the US were to slap on very serious export restrictions to Asia?
So, Michael, I'll let you answer the China-India part, Parag, but from what I've heard, I think there are more money going into AI startups, for example, in China and India, and more number of engineers who are working on AI in China and India. So I'm not sure if, how long that will be relevant, but it's a fair question. Michael.
For this question, I think what I can answer is for the software part, but not the hardware part. What the US is trying to restrict is probably more the hardware-specific design. From the software point of view, there is no secret at all. Back to 30 years ago, we are already using the open source, and it just has many more improvement, but we actually don't see any new special things coming out. So that actually also related to the creativity as well. So back to your question, I think the restriction will not really restrict any China's development in AI, but if it's a hardware-specific design, there might be.
Isn't hardware important to this field? I mean,
is hardware important? It will become more and more important. Yes, because more and more software learning capability is moving into hardware because the speed is much faster. And also the scale up is but still we're talking about some fundamental basic technology. But if you want to solve the real problem, I want to go back is because we look at enterprise, they are facing so many huge issues. And AI doesn't really restrict but the thing is actually the enterprise problem you're facing is actually has a lot of reason behind it. So back to the question, yes, it will have impact, but the impact I don't think will be, it will have a huge impact but for example, if you say, talking about F-35s, they have this virtual, they can think and they can do these things. I'm pretty sure that every country is also doing the similar thing as well. You can measure the brainwave and to try to control things.
how would China respond to a severe restriction on AI chipsets?
That I cannot answer because I'm from Taiwan. But I think this is a big issue for the global, yes.
True. I would like you to start the wrap-up and take your time doing it.
Sorry, about what?
Yeah, just wrap up of whatever you heard.
Oh, okay. I know that we have different perspective, but I still do believe, human being is we are the one who create the machine. We think the machine doesn't have emotion and might not control us, but it depends on how we train the machine, right? So I agree with you. For creative, there's still the breakthrough or the completely new invention that the machine will not replace the people, but I do believe that the machine have a lot of recommendations based on the past data, and they even can learn to create. So I agree with you, within 10 years, the machine is still in the learning process, and we are the one who create the machine. Some people, some party might not want to make it so fast, but the other side, the industry of invention, they play it big and fast because they live for that, right? So we have a lot of improvement. And I'm not sure after 10 years, I think IoT and deep learning and AI will make a huge difference. And I do believe some days that we have to shift our job to do other things like create the machine, we secure the machine, we put creativity on that, and we try to control that, so the ecosystem will change. But at some days, the machine will be as intelligent as a human being. And I'm not sure when, but I do believe that someday will happen.
Thank you, True. Yoshiki-san?
Yes, anyway, if you create...
you turn on your mic, please.
Yes. when you create an AI system, you need anyway investment. And investment is coming from the people who value the expected results out of that. Therefore, this is ultimately the product of human will, anyway. So at this stage, most of the effort will be some sort of economic improvement of a business process or these things. But if you imagine the sort of human replacement by machine, this is something very different. I mean, who is putting that money for that research and development? So ultimately, the machine can replace human anyway. So the question is there any needs doing that? At the same time, we have a lot of people without job, for example. So the question is how you let everyone happy in living this world. So then you have to create a creative business for a girl sitting on a line doing repetitive job which is boring to her and no personal improvement. And then if we can find a very good working place for her, that's good for the people, for example. Therefore, let machine replace all these boring jobs, but give people a very creative position to enhance their intellectual power. So that, I think, the important thing for the decision makers to do that.
Thank you very much. Eric?
Yeah, I think it's in the innovation of new technology, there's always two sides of the coin, the good and the bad. We refer to, the invention of the early machines, in the factory. They always thought that it will replace manual labor, but it's not. I know for a fact that we are now involved in healthcare industry in Indonesia, using machine learning capability and also AI to help detect cancer on Indonesian patients. Does it mean that we replace the medical doctors, the oncologists, the radiologists? No, we are actually improving the rate of detection. Currently, per day, they can only detect 50. Now, using the technology, they can detect 10 times more because the technology is helping the doctors and also helping the government to reduce the amount of surgery needed. So I think it has to be balanced, the two sides of the coin. So that's my 2 cents.
Michael, last word.
I understand a lot of companies trying to go into a deep learning framework, and so I just want to give some suggestion from our experience. I think we should always start with why. You need to ask the right business questions. The business question is very important, and then what you can do is you can look at in your companies, in your firm, where you have the things people can do very well, but they cannot do it now for the 10 million people anymore because you have so many data. But if you give them one person information, they can handle it very well. Then that means that you have a direction to look for this kind of place where the deep learning framework can be very useful. Then when you understand your business question, then you start to look at how. And I just want to talk about one point based on what we have observed. The key thing is you need to have an integrator. This integrator need to be able to talk both language. They need to be able to talk to the business term, talking to the domain know-how, and this same person also need to be able to talk to the data scientists, talking to the machine learning algorithms, the people with the programmer. This is very important. If you cannot find this person, even if you assemble a huge team, 1,000 people, you won't be able to accomplish anything. So that's very key. If you don't find this person, don't jump into a deep learning framework. And then after that, once you have all this ready, the next thing is you can focus on, for example, start with a pilot work and make sure that you don't go into the area where the historical burden exists in the enterprise, then you have a better chance to be successful.
Thank you. We've run out of time, so can I just ask like a one sentence from each one of you? Fang, anything? Last wrap up, can you just turn on your mic? Thank you.
I think that AI, machine learning, only really good when they are giving the human a superpower or a tool to do things that they cannot do, or replace the very boring work. In other ways, if they try to replace people, I don't think that it will work. I mean, people will want to keep their being used on daily basis, at least to feel that they exist. So I think that only in case if they make people give the superpower or make them powerful, we will have it.
Thank you. Masayoshi-san, one sentence, wrap up.
When we think about this kind of technology, so we have to combine the other technology, IoT and the blockchain and the big data, quantum computing also. And we have to also think about the business and the technology and the governmental perspective. So this kind of community is very, precious to have a discussion together. So thank you.
Time is up, but you can say something quickly.
Yeah, I think the first set of places where you'll see knowledge being used in is removing inefficiencies. During a storm, air traffic controllers, or where machine decision-making is human quality, the first place where you'll see it coming is bringing in efficiency to the table.
Yeah, Ito-san.
Yeah, the basic research in artificial intelligence is really led by the US and China in terms of investment they make, the amount of investment, as well as the number of research papers published and patents filed and so forth. But data is the king in machine learning. So for Asia, I think it is time to start doing something about it. The sooner we start, the more smarter we get, so that, and also doing the machine learning is very cheap. There are many free tools available, and if you look at YouTube's, there are many courses available for free, so that we should be all learning about it and start doing it. And there was a comment about horse. The horse is being created by somebody else, and how to ride on the horse is more important.
Thank you very much, all of you, and please give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much.